The story begins in the lush but lethal heart of the Brazilian Amazon. We find Ana and Paulo navigating the dense greenery in their van. The atmosphere is thick with humidity and dread. While Ana is driven by a relentless desire to push deeper into the rainforest, Paulo is paralyzed by a gut feeling that the jungle is a living entity that wants them dead. Their nerves reach a breaking point when they hear a heavy thud and the sound of something scurrying across the roof of their van. Paulo instantly grabs his firearm, expecting a predator, but as Ana cautiously peels back the curtains, they find nothing but a startled monkey. Despite the close call, Ana's resolve doesn't flicker. She decides to abandon the van and Paulo, hopping on her motorbike to continue her solo journey. However, she isn't alone. Two mysterious men have been tracking her every move, and they quickly launch their boat into the river to maintain their pursuit. The chase takes a horrific turn when their boat strikes a submerged object. One of the men is thrown into the murky water, and within seconds, a gargantuan anaconda surfaces. The beast coils its massive, muscular body around the screaming man, dragging him into the depths despite his partner's desperate and futile attempts to save him. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in California, we meet Doug, a videographer with the soul of a horror director but the job of a wedding cameraman. He is currently boring his clients with a pitch about a sewer monster, only to be sharply reminded that they are paying for a normal wedding video. Doug is forced to swallow his pride and his dreams. His best friend, Griff, is in a similar boat, a background actor trying to inject art into a three-line role, only to be humiliated by a director who wants him to remain a nameless face in the crowd. As Griff leaves the studio, he passes a poster for the original 1997 Anaconda movie, a moment of foreshadowing that coincides with a text from Doug. Back at Doug's office, his boss gives him a reality check. They are a party service, not a film studio. He tells Doug to grow up and prepare to inherit the business one day. But when Doug arrives home, he's greeted by a surprise party. Griff is there and presents a nostalgic gift, the monster movie they made together as children. As the grainy footage plays, the room fills with laughter, but for Doug and Griff, it's a painful reminder of the passion they've lost. The next day, Doug and Griff meet their old friends and former co-stars, Kenny and Claire. Griff drops a bombshell. He has allegedly secured the rights to the Anaconda franchise and wants to shoot an indie reboot. Kenny and Claire are immediately on board, but Doug refuses, citing his responsibilities as a father and provider. However, the spark is reignited when Doug sees his son captivated by their old childhood film. His wife, seeing the light return to his eyes, encourages him to take the leap. Realizing the soul-crushing nature of his current job, Doug drives to Griff's house and declares, "I'm in." Doug's creative floodgates open. He writes a script at lightning speed and estimates they need $2 million and 3 weeks of shooting. The reality of indie filmmaking hits hard when banks laugh at their loan requests. Undeterred, Doug slashes the budget to a mere $43,000. Kenny, who has just lost his job due to a drinking problem, finds new purpose in the project. As Doug prepares to leave, his son hands him a small, "World's Greatest Doug" figurine, a token of luck that will soon face the horrors of the Amazon. The group arrives in Brazil and meets Santiago, a rugged snake handler they found online. Santiago introduces them to his pet snake, a creature he rescued from a river poisoned by illegal mining. When the group gets too close, the snake strikes, serving as a grim warning. Santiago tells them that the predators in the wild are far larger and more terrifying, famously stating that it is far better to be killed by an anaconda than to be hunted by one. In the same town, Ana is playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse with her pursuers. She steals a knife and the keys to a boat from a drunken patron, only to find Doug and his crew loading their gear onto that very same vessel. To avoid the men following her, Ana lies, claiming she is the daughter of their original guide and that she's taking over the job. Seeing the desperation in the filmmakers' eyes, and needing an immediate escape, she agrees to take them upriver. As filming begins at a stunning waterfall, the line between fiction and reality starts to blur. The script, which follows a biologist hunting the snake that killed her family, mirrors the real-life tension between Ana and her past. Doug captures behind-the-scenes footage, documenting the group's bond and Griff's struggle as a struggling actor in LA. Santiago helps Kenny film snake vision shots, while a romance begins to sizzle between Griff and Claire, a spark that feels all too real despite their history as exes. Disaster strikes when Santiago's pet snake escapes its broken box and slithers into Griff's bed. The resulting panic leads to a tragic accident. Griff, in a moment of pure terror, throws the snake into the river, where it is instantly shredded by the boat's propellers. A heartbroken Santiago holds a funeral for his companion, and the tension between him and the crew reaches a boiling point. The horror truly begins when one of Anna's pursuers finds the boat. Before he can relay the coordinates to his boss, the massive anaconda lunges from the water and silences him forever. Guilt-ridden, Griff apologizes to Santiago, who agrees to help catch a new snake for the film. They venture into the swamp at night, but Griff's cowardice causes him to flee back to the boat, leaving Santiago alone. Santiago, brave but overmatched, is ambushed and crushed by the anaconda in the dark waters. When Santiago fails to return, the group ventures into the jungle to find him. They stumble upon an abandoned camper van, but the discovery is cut short when Santiago's lifeless body is hurled against the vehicle. The anaconda's head appears in the window, freezing the crew in terror. Anna takes charge, forcing them to fix the van's battery and escape. Doug narrowly avoids a strike from the beast as they jump-start the engine and roar away into the trees. As they are chased by bikers, whom Anna claims are illegal miners, Doug finds his inspiration. He films Anna as she expertly guns down their pursuers, realizing she is the perfect action hero. He begins rewriting the movie on the fly, centering the story on Anna fighting gold diggers. However, the group's morale begins to fracture. Griff and Claire feel sidelined by the new script, and an argument between Doug and Griff leads to a shocking revelation. Griff lied about the movie rights. He never owned them. He just wanted to force Doug to chase his dreams again. Infuriated, Doug fires Griff, who leaves the group on a small boat. But Griff soon discovers the carnage left behind by the anaconda. A professional Sony film crew, tasked with the official Anaconda reboot, has been completely wiped out. Griff watches in horror as a survivor is swallowed whole before his own boat fails, leaving him stranded. The truth about Anna finally emerges. She isn't a victim of miners, but a smuggler herself. She holds the group at gunpoint, forcing them to help her retrieve bags of gold from an abandoned dock. The pursuers were actually the police. Griff reappears just in time to shoot a police officer in the leg, but the chaos attracts the anaconda. The beast snatches Anna, dragging her to a watery grave. The remaining trio, Doug, Griff, Kenny, and Claire, are lost and terrified. In a bizarre and comedic moment, they believe a tarantula has poisoned Doug, leading to a ridiculous scene where Kenny has to treat the bite with urine. Their laughter is short-lived when the anaconda captures Doug and carries him off. Griff is devastated, believing his friend is dead. They decide to use Doug's body as a distraction to reach the boat, taping a squirrel in his mouth to attract the snake. In a miracle of survival, Doug wakes up. He was only unconscious. A chaotic chase ensues involving a live boar and a very confused Doug, but the friends finally reunite at the ruins of the Sony film set. There, they meet a legend, Ice Cube, reprinting his role from the 1997 original. He helps them ward off the snake with flares and guides them to safety. Doug realizes they have the ultimate opportunity. They can use the Sony crew's high-end special effects equipment to kill the snake and finish their movie simultaneously. They set up the cameras and lure the beast into a trap. After a high-speed chase in a golf cart and a failed detonator, Griff finally lands a flare shot into a gas line. The resulting explosion vaporizes the anaconda. Doug delivers the final blow, stabbing the beast's severed head with his "World's Greatest Doug" figurine. The movie ends with the group premiering their film at a local festival to a standing ovation. Though Sony hits them with a cease and desist, the bond between the friends is restored. Doug directs Griff and Claire's wedding, and in a final twist, Jennifer Lopez, the original 1997 lead, appears at Doug's door, having loved his reboot and offering him a chance to direct the real thing. Doug faints, and in the Amazon, a very much alive Santiago opens his eyes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press the bell icon for more amazing videos like this.